For 37 years, the world's greatest motocross riders have come to these Pennsylvania hills to test themselves in pro motocross. The path blazed by men like Pennsylvania's own Tony DiStefano, San Antonio, Texas rider Kent Howerton, El Cajon, California's Ricky Johnson, Mooresville, North Carolina's Damon Bradshaw, and Havana, Florida's Ricky Carmichael have led today's stars to High Point. KTM's Ken Roczen and Ryan Dungey, Suzuki's James Stewart, and Honda's Trey Kennard lead a hungry field of riders ready to carve their name into the history of one of America's great racing venues.
It's a motocross tradition nearly 40 years old as fans throughout the Northeast pack the hillsides of Mount Morris, Pennsylvania for this, the UPMC Sports Medicine High Point National. This year, round 4 of the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship, sanctioned by AMA Pro Racing. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to High Point Raceway. Jason Wygant joined by former 250 and 450 national motocross champion Grant Langston. The Lucas Oil Pro Motocross has come east for the first time this year. Could it shake things up? Let's look at the big picture storylines we'll be following all day long here on MAV TV. First, great competition in the 450 class. Out of 6 motos this year, 4 different winners already. Josh Grant, Ryan Dungey, James Stewart, Ken Roczen, they've all graced the top of the podium. And even though the KTMs have been a little more consistent than everyone else, it's clear that other riders are starting to make some inroads there. Should set up some great racing there. Similar story in the 250 class. Yamaha with Jeremy Martin won the first 5 motos of the year, but Blake Baggett broke through to win the previous moto a week ago in Colorado and the overall. We'll see if the former series champion can start to close the gap on those blue bikes that are out front. So we'll swing it over to you, Grant Langston. We know about the riders that we're watching. What about this racetrack?
This racetrack is interesting. As you can tell, Mount Morris, Pennsylvania, nice and green. What does that mean, Weege? A lot of rain. We had a lot of rain yesterday, some heavy downpours. The track was slick this morning. It's already claimed some victims. We've seen a few top guys going down, shaking up things a little bit, but I expect this track to dry out. It'll be technical, but it'll be great racing today. Now,
at the top of the show, we mentioned James Stewart getting that breakthrough moto victory a week ago in Colorado. He's had some highs and lows the last couple of years, which is not what we're used to from him. He's a guy that used to have a perfect season in this championship, but he actually credits his team, Yoshimura Suzuki, for helping him on both the good days and the bad.
You know, with this team, being on Yoshimura Suzuki, it's kind of fit. I kind of made the decision to come over here. All the guys are real down to earth. We all, we like to have fun. We just, down to earth people. We always just laughing and, but we take racing serious. And, the good thing is, ever since I've been here, there hasn't been no pointing, finger pointing or anything like that. So it makes it feel like at home.
Despite career marks that will already put him in the annals of one of the all-time greats, James Stewart is looking for 2014 to help build on his legacy.
For me, to be able to win this 2014, motocross series, I think it would, just kind of put a little icing on the cake. I think it would mean a lot, for me just to be able to come back from where I was, struggling those few years to be able to come out and do it. Obviously, if I don't, it's not a make or break, but it'd be nice to throw another trophy on the mantle.
And there is James Stewart just completing his parade lap. Got a moto win last week. Don't forget the KTM riders, though, have won the overalls this year. Can someone stop them? Well, maybe the hills of High Point will have a little bit of magic. We'll be getting started with round 4 Lucas Oil Pro Motocross in a bit.
The Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship is brought to you by Geico Motorcycle. See how much you could save. By Kawasaki, the bike that builds champions. And by Lucas Oil, the world leader of high-performance lubricants and problem-solving additives.
We're back at High Point Raceway, Mount Morris, Pennsylvania, one of the most storied tracks in all of Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. Let's show you how we're going to go racing today with our 411. As always, we'll have 2 classes, each racing 2 motos, and we'll total up the scores in each class up from the 2 motos to determine an overall winner. In case there's a tie, Somebody's a first, somebody's a second, someone is a second, someone the first. We'll break the tie with the better finish in the second moto. So that's our 4-1-1. Let's go to the GoPro starting gate with Georgia Lindsay.
Now, the past 6 years here at High Point, Pennsylvania, the guy who has won the 450 class has gone on to win the championship. This means potentially we could see the guy winning the championship this weekend at High Point. Now, Grant Langston, you've got something to tell us about that previous year, don't you?
Okay, 6 years. What happened 7 years ago?
Oh, 7 years ago, I won the championship, but I didn't win Mount Morris. So, yes, I did screw up that rotation. But for some reason, just never won at this track. Didn't dislike it. Wasn't my favorite place. It's a beautiful facility, but never able to actually get that win.
All right, well, we're still going to have you give us the tour on the Kawasaki track map, despite the fact that you never won here. We'll give you a mulligan on that. Go ahead.
Well, the arrow will probably go faster than I am. But,
okay.
But if you look at the start, it is steeper than it appears on TV, so getting a good gate pick is critical. You got this long sweeping left, which comes down the hill. This is a hard braking zone here into a lot of off-cambers here. So pick your rut, come over this tunnel jump. And this section here, very technical because it's on a bend and you want to try and double through there as much as possible. Another bit of a drop off. This is also an off camber. Couple jumps for the guys. Battling to get through it this morning with the mud. In fact, no one jumping this corner double, which is very technical even in the dry. Make this left hander, and then this goes to probably the lowest point of the track, right in front of the fans. All that green behind there will be full of fans screaming and shouting. Make this left. Now you come on one of the faster parts of the track, heading back up towards the pits. You do that step up there, and then this step up, you land hard on the brakes, sharp right-hander, back drop off down the hill. There's another off camber that sweeps down to the left. Little step up, make another little hairpin turn. Then another fast section here, another big floater step up. Make this 180 left, drop back down. You see the guys coming up this hill here, getting their weight back and trying to get through these rollers as fast as you can. Great passing opportunity. Make a left-hander, come up to the finish line jump. Arrow gives us a whip. Down Bradshaw Boulevard, past the Fram Mechanics area. Another left step down, and then this, a big triple step up, probably the biggest jump in the track. Then you loop back around and hook on the start, and that's a lap here at Mount Morris.
So it's 38th annual national here at High Point. We'll give you some of the track facts, a little over a mile in length. That's pretty standard nowadays for motocross. Lap times will be a little over 2 minutes we expect today. And the first 450 class winner ever at this track, kind of fitting, Pennsylvania's own Tony DiStefano, and Mark Barnett, also a Suzuki rider. That was the first time they ever held the 250 class. Back then it was called 125 class in 1983. Now, I mentioned the lap times, what they are, this 1.1 mile track. The fastest one of all in the 450 division this afternoon was Ken Roczen. He wins the Oakley Bomb Award, which goes to your fastest qualifier. Here's the crazy thing. A muddy first practice, Ryan Dungey at a 2:22 is the fastest time. In the second qualifier, the track dried out, you can see, 12 seconds faster. So this track keeps getting quicker every time they get out there.
It's drying up because it was muddy this morning. It's going to be changing. The track was getting faster, but now it's going to start getting slower again as those ruts and bumps develop. But Ken Roczen, 2:10, very fast in qualifying. But how about right after that, Jeremy Martin was almost 3 seconds quicker, so that you know the track is getting quicker and quicker. It's dried out since they've had practice, but let's have a look at the KTM keys to the moto. Changing track conditions, what I was just talking about. It was muddy this morning. It's drying out, so it is changing. The riders are going to have to change their lines and their style as well. Get a good start. We always talk about that, but it's really critical here because of vision and how deep these ruts are. You want to get the start. Adapt to the track, meaning as it's getting deeper and rougher, you're going to have to start switching up lines. You'll see the guys that are very intelligent riders will find those good lines, and that's why I think Ken Roczen was your fastest guy.
I'm wondering, that muddy first practice, and now it's sunshine and wind, it's dried out quite a bit. It basically, throw away anything you learned from that. Is it even worth anything as far as bike setup, that at least that first segment earlier today?
It is, because they're projecting what the race is going to be like. Okay. So they've made adjustments based off what they think it'll be. But once you get out there, if you made the wrong adjustment, we've heard guys say, we made a fine adjustment, but we went the wrong way.
Yes.
So very interesting to see.
I think there was a factor last week. James Stewart won the first Moto, so they went the wrong direction in Moto 2. Trey Canard rode well in Moto 2, but he said the bike was a little off, but I should have been better. It shouldn't have affected me that much. But you haven't heard much of that from the KTM riders. Roczen and Dungey, they've been nearly spot on every time we've gone racing.
Absolutely. I think they did their work in the off-season, but We're getting ready for Moto 1. I'm getting pumped up. Weege, how about you?
Well, we said this is a pivotal round with guys like Kennard and Stewart trying to make inroads toward the KTMs. They've got to keep that momentum up today. Let's see what happens at High Point. And how about this? High Point's going to come to life. They love Chad Reed up here. He won his first ever national in this class at this track. Won his first ever national in the 250 class at this track. And a veteran out of Australia is out front. I know he's been dealing with some injuries. It's like they treated him with the Australian eucalyptus medicine. He looks old school. And how about this? James Stewart, his old rival, is right there behind him.
That's exactly what Chad Reed needed. Was a good start because that'll get him out front. If Stewart gets around him, he should tag on because he'll find those lines. Chad been a little bit off to start the outdoors, but this is exactly what you need to get your season jump started. Get that start lead, get that adrenaline going, hear the crowd, get pumped up. This is exactly what the 2-2 machine needed.
Fans love to see a good old Reed-Stewart battle. This is like going on the last, seriously about a dozen years that these guys have been fighting for it in a variety of classes. Stewart goes to the inside, almost had a line. You see those ruts you were talking about.
The guys already still trying to find their line. They had a parade lap, but like we said, a lot has changed since these guys were out on the track. They fill in the ruts there. You'll see that developing, but look at this. Reed, he's not holding Stewart up, really. I mean, they're actually pulling away from third, so good pace from Chad. And I'm sure with James, he's not going to force the issue. When you're in second, he knows he's got plenty of time.
Looks like Jake Weimer in third, and then Andrew Short fourth. So the Roczen Dungey combo, not good start for them. So it's Chad Reed on the Discount Tire 2-2 Motorsports machine. He's got the motosport.com whole shot. And you're right, James Stewart not exactly all over him. I'm sure Stewart would like to have the lead, but he's not getting held up either.
He's also trying to stay out of that roost and the mud as they come up the hill. This is the off-camera rollers, which the guys were really struggling with in practice, but right now they make it look easy. As they complete lap one, green flag is out. Here we go.
They're making it look like it was 2002 or something, seeing these two battle as Weimer and Short really fighting over that third place spot. Looks like Short now has it on the VTOsports.com KTM. Then it's the Monster Energy Kawasaki and Weimer trying to get him back.
But unable to triple up the hill, so Shorty able to keep that, but look at this.
Whoa,
Stewart now.
Nicely done.
He just got that bike squared up, got the power to the ground, and just squirted up the inside of Chad. Takes the lead.
Cannot say this track doesn't have multiple lines because Weimer and Short have been side by side for nearly a lap, and Stewart found an opening on Reed. And like we mentioned, when he was behind Reed, he was not really directly behind him at any point. He was avoiding the roost. We'll see if these two can pull away. Oh, here comes the 41 of Kennard on the Honda Muscle Milk machine. He's got Weimer as well.
So now Weimer there briefly had third spot. Now he finds himself in fifth. Andrew Short holding on to that final podium position right now, but it looks like Trey Kennard is coming, and he is coming in a hurry.
Now they got to take advantage of the opportunity. Dungey 7th after lap 1. Roczen in 10th, so the door is open for someone to upset this Red Bull KTM freight train. Here comes Kennard. Oh, I thought he had a line on Short. Not able to make it happen.
Andrew Short doing just enough there. Trey, gets blocked there by Andrew Short.
Can't jump that triple uphill.
Not losing really any ground there, but Trey had a good line trying to go around Andrew as he's doing it again. And I think the key is with this track, the way it is being off camber in so many sections, is you can go the long way around because even though it's a lot longer, there's less ruts and you don't get held up as much. And Andrew Short obviously doing what he needs to do, and that's protect the insides. When you're ahead, you can't leave the door open, as we say. You can't go to the outside unless it's clearly faster. But right now, Trey trying to find an opportunity. Maybe if he was able to see James Stewart ahead, he would have seen how he got it done on Chad Reed.
Now Dungey's in the picture here. The number 5, Phil Nicoletti on the JJR Toyota Yamaha comes through right behind him. So they're closing in on Weimer. Weimer not too far behind that Kennard and Short battle for third. And then it's Reed in second. Reed now the 8th different rider this year to lead a lap in the 450 class. That's pretty good.
That's cool.
It's only the 7th moto of the season. And James Stewart, of course, on the number 1 spot. Stewart is a 2-second gap. Let's watch Dungey trying to go to work on Weimer to move into 5th.
And we saw just lurking in the background Ken Roczen a few positions behind, but this is good for Dungey. He needs to be ahead of Roczen, and if you're Ryan Dungey, you hope it finishes that way as well, because Kenny looked really good in qualifying practice this morning, laid down some good times. Said he had a few tricks in his back pocket still. Felt he could have gone faster, but this I would consider a very European type track, and obviously Ken Roczen being a German as well as a former world champion, this is where he'll relish.
He's got to work his way through a couple of veterans here. You got Metcalf on the 24 and Ivan Tedesco on the 9. That's separating this KTM group. Nicoletti in there between them as well. Look at Roczen. He's not messing around with trying to go over to the outside of Tedesco. So that spectator area you're talking about. So they're watching Reed, Kennard, who has passed Short now, then Short, and the rest. Whoa! That's 2 laps in a row. A close call for Kennard in that little kink on the uphill.
Well, since they did some track maintenance, they've moved some of this dirt around, and some of it's a little bit sloppier when it was underneath. So now it's sitting on top, so it's a little greasy. That'll slowly get pushed off and as well as dry out during this race. So you'll see these guys, they step out of that main line, still a little bit slick.
Short, he's got to feel a little bit like Reed. He needed that shot in the arm with a good start. He has had terrible luck to begin the year. Short is 13th in the series standings. This is a guy who you can count on being near the top 5 or in the top 3 even most seasons. So Short trying to get to work, as is Roczen on Metcalf.
That was a cool little line there from Med. He went from the outside and squared up over the ruts. Something Brett Metcalf's always been pretty good at, finding the smooth terrain out there. Because as we say, if you're bouncing around, you're not going to be able to go that fast. Look at this. Roczen with a good drive. Scrubs that finish line. Down Bradshaw Boulevard.
Oh, Malcolm Stewart down. We're hoping for good things from him today.
And he looks like he may have had a decent
another rider. We have another rider down there on the right side trying to see who that is.
Malcolm, not what he had in mind when he started this day.
I think that might have been Jake Weimer down. We'll try to get an update on that as we go back to Roczen, who has made the move on Metcalf. You saw him setting that up in the big left-hander before the finish line. So the next rider on Roczen's list will be the 38 of Nicoletti, and that's the only rider that separates our top 2 in points, which would be Roczen and Dungey.
Well, Roczen moving forward. Oh, you see him tripling up on that tabletop. We haven't seen that done yet today, so we know the track's drying out, and these guys are getting the drive now. And that's something that I'm curious to see if James will pick up on that as well. I mean, he can't see the other guys doing it, but I'm wondering if his feel will enable him to go for that, because it looks like you're going to definitely gain some time by getting over that. And this, I think, was where Malcolm went down earlier. And we were just talking about that section, how the guys, it's a right-hander with a drop
yes.
off, and so you're leaning and it's sloppy. So we saw Trey and we saw a couple of guys, almost go down because the wheels are washing away right going off that. So hoping that the guys that went down are going to be okay, and hopefully we'll see them in the second moto.
Going to be an interesting battle watch materialize. Stewart getting away. It looks like the other Stewart here, Malcolm, is in the pits. That's the old-fashioned way to fix a motorcycle.
Yeah,
nothing technical about that.
Yeah, just give me a big hammer or a mechanic with a big leg.
So they fixed the bike. He is back out. Weimer did not come around on that last lap. He is credited with 39th right now. Hope he's okay as we watch Dungey go to work on Short. This is for 4th place with Kennard in front of them. And Roczen starting to lurk into the screen here.
And he's coming.
Yeah.
Roczen is coming. So I'm curious to see what happens, because I see this battle brewing here pretty soon. And can Dungey respond? Because Roczen is coming.
Roczen really hanging it out, throwing it sideways over the finish line jump. Now we got this triple step up, famous jump behind the starting gate. And Roczen jumps it, Nicoletti does not, but Nicoletti hugs the inside. And send it down to Giorgio Lindsay, but more on Roczen.
Yes, as we know, this is a kind of European-style track, so I feel like Ken Roczen is definitely going to excel here. But Sylvain Gobers, which is one of the European riders, was actually a guy that helped design this track when they first had a national here. And that's why people say it's kind of got that European feel. So I feel like Marvin Musk and Ken Roczen, those guys that ride these rough tracks, could have an advantage.
Trying to get around Nicoletti. Boy, he's really throwing it sideways on these jumps. Here's that tabletop he's able to jump to the top of.
That's all it takes.
And use it to make the pass.
That's all it took. Just get alongside and carry that momentum in. Because I think at this point, too, someone like Nicoletti's not going to put up a massive fight, because all he's going to do is hold them both up. So he's better off just trying to watch Ken Roczen, the points leader.
And it looks like Dungey has gotten around Short as Roczen goes after Short. Shorty and Roczen are best buds off the track, but they got to fight for it here on it. And he makes the pass quite quickly, so as Dungey moves through traffic, his Red Bull KTM teammate on the number 94 is doing the same. Jake Weimer, that was him down with Malcolm Stewart. He has walked off under his own power. Hope he's okay. Drag racing isn't just for asphalt. The Lucas Oil Drag Boat Racing Series takes to the water for the 2014 season. Catch all the action as the boats scream across the water, catching speeds of nearly 250 miles an hour in just 3 seconds. Lucas Oil Drag Boat Racing tonight, 6 Eastern on MAV TV. American Real.
I've actually watched that before. It's pretty ridiculous what those guys can do in water. It's incredible.
Ivan Tedesco is out on the Soaring Eagle Casino RCH Suzuki. He was up inside the top 10. Now out of this race, not sure what happened there. Let's give you an update. James Stewart continues to lead. Trey Kennard is second. Here is your battle for third. You got Chad Reed and Ryan Dungey. We mentioned with Reed leading this earlier and Stewart behind him, and those two battling. It felt like an old school race if we were in a time machine. Similar story here. There were a couple years where it seemed like Dungey was just shadowing Reed everywhere. Once made the joke that Reed could get a Hi Ryan butt patch. It seemed like they would meet like this at some point in every race, and here is Dungey still trying to figure out a way around the 2-2.
Chad's riding pretty solid, not getting flustered. You know, didn't quite have the pace of, probably the top. He's about a 5th place guy at the moment, but with a good start, and you put yourself in this position, one guy tips over like, Roxon did or something like that, and you find yourself in the podium. That's that old saying, you got to put yourself at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, Reed is 10th in the points right now, and he's really hovered around that position in most of the races, 9th, 10th, 11th. That's not what you expect from Chad Reed. It's certainly better, though, than he was last year when he was sick. This year, he's coming into the series off of shoulder surgery back in February. So far, his best moto finish, a 9th. So right now, running in the number 3 position, that is much improved. And we expected Reed to get better as the year went on, and he got some mileage under his belt coming off that surgery.
Well, what people forget about is when you get hurt, you lose your fitness, you've lost strength in that area, you're going backwards while your competitors are pounding laps, dialing the bike in, just getting all those little fine details dialed in. So it is hard. We go, oh, he's not on the podium, or what's he doing in 10th?
Yeah.
If you're just 95% of where you need to be, that's what will happen. You'll end up 10th. You have to be at 100%, otherwise you can't win at this level.
Here is Short and Nicoletti battling out. Nice line by Nicoletti, jumping a double. I don't know if I've ever seen anyone jump that. Ends up on the outside of the corner, can't make the pass. This is for 6th and 7th. And then Nicoletti's teammate, Josh Grant, is behind them in 8th. Metcalf has dropped to 9th and Weston Pike 10th. Nicoletti had a 3-race deal with JGR, and they decided to keep him on for at least another 3. So he'll get the first half of the year in.
Well, he's shown signs of someone that deserves to have a ride for the outdoors. He's shown some good speed. He's had some good starts. Not always the end result maybe that he was hoping for, but if we rewind back to Hangtown, wasn't Nicoletti and Andrew Short having a little team meeting on the ground on the opening lap?
That's right.
And they're back together.
Hey, 15 minutes into the moto, we've got a Chad Reed, Ryan Dungey battle. Is Georgia, let's see if Georgia Lindsay's learned anything, these 15-minute marks. Georgia, have any idea what you could do in 15 minutes?
You know what, Weech? I have a feeling that 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car insurance.
Really? Yeah. With the accent to boot. And we go back to this battle here. Dungey trying to find an inside line on Reed. Now it's going to switch to the outside. Still can't make it happen.
Neither one can do that double, so it kind of funnels back into that line. Oh, Dungey going the long way around. We haven't even seen anyone avoid that big mound there, but part of the reason is you can't pass someone if you're following them. And secondly, because this dirt is still a little bit wet and sticky, the roost, it sticks to your goggles. So every time the guy grabs a handful out of every corner, if you're right behind him, you have to pull a tear-off. You'll even see the guys turn their head to try and avoid it because they start running out of tear-offs as well.
Well, Dungey's running out of distance. He had a nice little gap built up over his teammate Roxon, but now Kenny is in the picture. We're going to show you Chad Reed how he got this motosport.com hole shot. That's what put him up front here. Right now he's running third. Take us through it, Grant.
Gets a good jump, keeps it tight. You see, I think Andrew Short, a few guys running a little bit wide, and that's the tendency there. But Chad hugs it tight, gets a great jump, crosses that line, and also collects himself $500.
and it has resulted in the best track position for Reed so far this year. Like we said, best finish up till now is a 9th. He is running 3rd, but he's got the 2-point leaders behind him. Dungey, who's 2nd in the standings, and now Roczen, who is your leader, has caught Dungey. And this is why we say Chad Reed could have the Hi Ryan patch on the back of his pants, because Dungey has been reading the back of Reed's gear for the last 3 laps. He cannot get around him.
Dungey has to make it happen because he's allowed Roczen to get back up into the mix. And if he waits too long, he'll get stuck in that sort of pace. You know, there's nothing worse than being about a half to a second faster than someone. You can't make it, but here he goes. Did exactly what he needed to do. Square it up the inside, get the throttle to the ground, take his line away.
So finally, Dungey able to get around Reed. Reed's going to have to deal with Roczen for sure. You know he's going to the front. Dungey going to try to pin it. You've mentioned this a couple times this year. When you make the pass, you really got to go for it and get away from the guy. As for Roczen, here's why he lost some ground earlier.
Yeah, off canvas, slick. Look, front just tucks, washes it out. No harm, no foul. Lost a bit of ground, but you wouldn't have known because we come back from commercial and he's right on Dungey again. So Kenny's got the pace, and you see here, Andrew Short almost gets collected in that little saga there, but look at this. Roczen showing a wheel on Reed, because look what's happened now. Dungey's able to start breaking away a little bit. So Ryan Dungey's best friend right now is Chad Reed.
Yeah, it was the worst enemy
the
for a couple
longer,
laps.
yeah, he went from get out of my way to get in everyone else's way.
Yeah,
hey, look at
there we
Roczen, power move up there, side by side. How's it going to work out? Chad keeps the gas on hard. Chad Reed not one to roll over. Grabs a handful there and says, no, not right now, son.
It's got to make you smile. There's Reed trying to work his way back into racing form. You know Roczen's going to the front. He could have let him by. Nuh-uh. He grabbed a handful of Kawasaki horsepower and made sure he kept Roczen behind him. He wants to race with these guys, fight with these guys. He's doing a good job. Here comes Roczen again. Nope.
Let's see what happens here. We've seen some guys go inside, some guys go outside. The outside line appears to be, you can carry more momentum, and then you also skip out that horrible little knuckle jump there that upsets the bike mid-turn. But Kenny looks like he is getting impatient, because I think he can see Ryan Dungey starting to just edge away.
And Reed again finding the line to hold Roczen off. I've equated Reed to a baseball pitcher. Doesn't quite maybe always have the 100-mile-an-hour fastball, but he knows how to get guys out. He puts the bike in the right spot. He goes fast when he needs to. Roczen can't just blaze right by him.
Chad also able to square this turn up and avoid that knuckle. Roczen doing the same thing. Look at that off camber. That rut just actually looks really fun when it's like that. Nice and smooth, a nice big arc. Because what ends up happening when these guys start slamming these ruts, they actually start getting kinks in it. And that's why you see the bikes getting upset as the day goes on. Then sometimes they'll break through the rut and then they have to reform it. So these tracks literally are different every single time they come around. It's not asphalt racing where there's minuscule change, you know, maybe more rubber on the ground or, you know, some oil. But I mean, these guys, look at that. Kenny doing it again.
Wow, and Roczen makes it happen. That's the line he used to make a few passes out there. Not much Reed could do about that one. And Roczen going to go back into pursuit of his teammate Ryan Dungey. But more importantly, up front, James Stewart and Trey Kennard have a big lead on the 2-point leaders. Ken Roczen is your points leader in Lucas Oil Pro Motocross here in the number 94 with the red and black gear, but he has had his work cut out for him today. Started outside of the top 10 in this first 450 moto at High Point. He's trying to catch his teammate, Ryan Dungey. Dungey is in 3rd, Roczen in 4th. Roczen has not finished outside of the top 3 in any motos so far this year. He's 6 for 6. But this could be the first bump off of the box if Dungey can hold him off.
That's a big if, because we still have over 7 minutes and 2 laps to go. And at this point, it's hard being Ryan Dungey, because you know Kenny's pretty close, but there's no one really there to try and latch on or have in your sight to tag onto, whereas Kenny can see Ryan in front of him. So it's hard to explain, but it's almost like a tow rope system. When you're behind, you just feel like you're slowly creeping in, reeling him in, because that motivation is right in front of you. For Dungey, he's just thinking, don't worry about Ken Roczen. Oh, but look at this. Now you see Trey Kennard in the screen. So Kennard last lap at 2:08. Ken Roxon a 2:06 and Brian Dungey a low 2:07. So this is getting very interesting with time running out here.
Yeah, which direction could it go? It's not inconceivable that Dungey could maybe even try to put Kennard between himself and Roxon before this one is over. Or Roxon could get them both, or Kennard could just hold them both off and they hold positions. I'll tell you what, there's already a 12-point lead in the standings for Roxon. So Dungey needs points, and they do pay points individual to these motos, not the overall at the end of the day. So every one of these races you're watching right here counts for the standings at the end of the year. And I'm sure Dungey knows that. You've got to keep the 94 behind you.
I like how Kenny's doing that, and I'm pretty sure when these guys get back to the truck, all the mechanics and team managers are going to say, you have to triple up onto that. It's not that difficult. I mean, Ken makes it look pretty easy, which he does. He makes a lot of things look easy, but truly, it's not that difficult. I think it's just because of the ruts coming up to it. The guys are maybe a little skeptical of trying to really accelerate through the ruts. And we saw what happened to Trey Kennard in that section a few years ago, where he ended up going over the bars. And these ruts here can bite you. They grab the, they get deep enough where you bury the foot pegs and it hooks that frame, and it's not a pretty sight after that. And
he's landing in some ruts down there as well. Oh, this is about as close as they have been the last 5 or 6 laps. At one point, Roxon was right behind Dungey, crashed, and how about this? Dungey is right behind Kennard. We heard Kennard actually made an error, and that's why these KTM riders were able to reel him in.
Triples up here. Let's see what happens coming to the turn. Oh, yeah, just what's happening is with this dirt sticking up.
Wait, that's Matt Gerke at 44. Don't let the neck brace fool you. Same gear.
Yeah, Trey had that Matt Gerke's gear on in practice. So, yeah, I think it threw us for a loop there. But
41, 44. Sorry about that.
But what happened was coming in that turn, you see the bike got unsettled in the little bumps there, and it's so sticky as well as slippery. It's hard to explain, but it's a bit of both. That, once the bike got unsettled, he just tipped over.
Okay, so we were saying several times, you and I bench racing this week and on this television show, pivotal round of the series. Could the likes of Stewart and Kennard continue to make inroads on the KTMs? Well, now we've reached a pivotal point in this pivotal round. Everything's on the line right now. If Kennard holds these two off, that's a big shot in the arm of confidence. And Stewart, he's gone. He's got an 11-second lead. These guys are going to push Kennard for all he's worth down the stretch here. They do not want to be bumped off the podium.
Absolutely, they have to. I mean, these guys are fighters. All 3 of them. One of these guys is going to be very upset about not being on the podium.
Roxon, there's his line over the jump, and again, landing down on that soft stuff. Shrugs that right off.
Good line. Running the edges of the track at places to stay out of the deep stuff.
Dungey all over Kennard now. This is as close as he has been to him at any point in the race. And as we said before, it's as close as Roxon has been to Dungey in several laps. So we have got a real battle shaping up for the number 2 position here at High Point. James Stewart, haven't seen much of him. 11-second gap.
Oh, look at Kenny. Hops through those ruts around the outside. Now he comes to this inside. But Dungey has a better drive around the outside. Kenny unable to triple up there. See how the bike's just moving around in the rut. It's real choppy.
Roxon going to go all the way around the outside to the bottom of the hill to try to find an opening on his teammate. Dungey able to cut it off. So Dungey's in a tough situation now. He wants to pass Kennard, but can't leave the door open.
Yeah, talk about being caught between a rock and a hard place.
A Roxon. And a hard place.
A Roxon and a hard place. There we go. I like that.
There's that little knuckle on the inside that you don't like that jump, but Dungey just took it.
Hey, I don't have to go over it. I don't mind it. They can leave it there. I'm cool with it. I'm saying I don't think these guys like it because they go around it, but that's just nothing against the jump. It's just if you can avoid bumps and jumps, you will.
Well, look at how much it's allowed things to tighten up. 2 different lines in that corner. Roxon is right there. And also Dungey's trying to show a wheel to Kennard. Tremendous fight for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at High Point. Roxon switching up lines on Dungey's on the inside.
Oh, I thought Roxon might have gone for it and they were going to hit midair. Very smart move by Kenny. Knowing Ryan was just ahead of him, he controls the line. But I thought for a brief second we might have seen 2 KTM riders glued together in midair over the biggest jump at Mount Morris.
If you're Roger DeCoster, the team manager for that squad, or anyone on this team, that's the only thing you're worried about right now. Don't take each other out. Oh, Dungey had a wheel on the inside of Kennard. Couldn't make it happen.
Well, Dungey knows he's 1 minute he's fending off Roxon, so right now he's going, I've got to make this happen. I've got to make this happen. Watch Kenny through you. Kenny make it happen. He triples up. Dungey takes the line away.
Wow, Dungey Now that was starting to push the envelope. He came right into Roczen.
Hey, why not? That's racing.
Yep.
These guys are teammates, and we're maybe just not really used to it from Ryan Dungey that much, but that's what he's going to have to do. Nice guys finish last. So when you put your helmet on, you have to be a little bit of a difficult guy to deal with.
It's difficult to get around him, that's for sure, and Dungey is definitely looking for an opening on Canard. Roczen and Dungey in totally different spots on the racetrack from where they were a lap ago. That's just the nature of this battle. You mentioned adapting to the track, but they're also adapting to each other. That cannot be easy.
Well, you see them switching up lines, and that's because with the drying out, they're all like earlier. No one went to the outside, but Dungey tries it. He gets blocked past. Now Roczen comes down the hill. Can Dungey do it here?
Dungey's going to be on the outside of this corner. This could either be really good or really bad. Roczen had to follow him through. Now Canard has to deal with that knuckle jump on the inside and negotiates it well, holds on to second. Wow. Credit to Canard.
Yeah, I was about to say, he really made most of going all the way around the inside in the deepest part and hitting the jump, and he really railed that turn. I mean, he knows these guys are all over him. If he doesn't commit every single turn, he's going to get past.
Drag race down to the inside. Dungey tries again. Not able to make it happen.
Ryan Dungey trying very hard, but Trey Canard is riding so well. It's just really tough for Ryan. But here we go. This is where he was good earlier. Can he square it up? He squares it up, but he wasn't quite close enough, and Canard able to retain that second position.
Oh, man. So right now, Dungey, I'd say, is the aggressor. He has put a few more challenges toward Canard than Roczen has on him. That could change any minute. Okay, this is a critical juncture of the track. This downhill and the right-hand turn leads to that jump that Roczen had been using to make passes. And Canard is being held up by lap traffic. Dungey's got an opening.
That lapper didn't know what happened. He got split both sides. He just said, I'll stay in the middle and get out of the way, please.
And he's got to deal with Roczen as well. I thought Canard was in a bad spot there, and somehow he's able to come out still in the number 2 position. Dungey getting hung out to dry by another one of the lap riders.
Well, with some of these ruts, it is almost at times impossible for these guys to get out of the way, because sometimes they think they're getting out of the way and they may end up moving in your way. So just the nature of this track.
Canard made a mistake entering this downhill. Dungey looking to take advantage, and every time he gets about a half a bike length next to him, Canard is able to fend him off on that Honda Muscle Milk machine. On the downhill we go.
Downhill, it's an off camber, you can't quite see it. Dungey now squares it up to the inside of the lapper. He gets around no problem. Is this going to have any effect on Ken Roczen?
I think it will.
I think he'll get him right here. Oh, Dungey makes a big mistake.
He's off the track and into the mud, and just like that, he coughs up third, and he has to wait for an opening in the repeater banners. And I was just going to say, it looked like they had opened up the slightest bit of distance on Roczen, and about 10 seconds later, Dungey coughs up the spot.
That could have been ugly.
What causes that there? Is that maybe ruts in the takeoff?
Yeah, he gets a little cross-rutted going up.
I see.
When the front was tucking, he's lucky he didn't wash out when he took off. So
here's Roczen behind the starting gate. This triple step up. He'll definitely jump it now that he doesn't have Dungey in front of him. So now he's free to go after Canard, although the mistake by Dungey has given Canard a little bit of breathing room with 2 laps to go. James Stewart on the Yoshimura Suzuki is gone up front. Take us through it with Dungey. Wow.
You just see the bike swaps and he lands in that mud, but who knows what could have been there. But nice save there by Ryan Dungey. Those ruts are long. You realize how gnarly they are when you get that camera angle from behind.
Yeah.
So this track is difficult to begin with, but you factor in all the elements these guys are having to deal with today. It's very technical, and probably no real surprise to see a very technical rider out in the lead.
It has been a masterful performance by James Stewart. Had to get around his old rival, Chad Reed, and once he cleared him, he has not been challenged. Looking for his second straight first moto victory. Wasn't able to seal the deal on the overall last week in Colorado, so they'll go to work on that again. Stewart admitted last week they just weren't quite dialed in yet with the bike when this championship began. He was a little bit closer. Still, he said he maybe had a 1% chance at winning the Supercross title as that series hit the stretch run. And maybe they didn't quite focus on the motocross testing as much as possible. They were still hoping for the best indoors. And now they've obviously got the Suzuki figured out. Look at the lead he has. And it's Roczen. Where's Kennard? Did we miss the 41? Oh, man.
Oh, there he is.
There he is. Let's send it down to Georgia Lindsay.
Yep, he was just going over the Lucas Oil jump where the tunnel jump is, and he just lost it in a right in the corner. He must have just lost the front end, went down, and he kind of, it was an easy crash as in he lost the front end, but he kind of got stuck, and it was tough to get back up. In that time, both KTM Red Bull riders passed him, unfortunately.
Well, that was the key coming into this race. Could the likes of Stewart and Kennard start fending off the KTM? Stewart has done it. Kennard came about a lap away from doing it.
But that's what happens when you're pushing the limit. You got guys behind you under pressure, and with this track, like we've said, I mean, we've seen Roczen go down, we've seen Dungey almost have a big one. It's very, very easy to make a mistake out there. This track, like I said earlier, it's like the 12th man. It really is a huge factor in today's race and what will be the final outcome.
I'll tell you what, watching Stewart in most of this race, we talk about it in the 250 class often with Christophe Pourcel and some riders like that. He doesn't look nearly as fast as he's probably going. It's Dungey trying to make a last-ditch charge at Roczen. Stewart has just been so darn smooth in this one. Meanwhile, you look at these two, also dealing with lap traffic. They look aggressive. They are going all out. They don't even care if they make mistakes. They're just keeping their things held wide open.
Well, you're going to make mistakes on this track, but as long as you don't go down and lose valuable time, that's how you have to attack this track. If you're polite to the track, you're off the pace. So you got to basically show this track who's boss. So
Dungey trying to rebound from that error. Roczen's on the outside. Dungey going to follow him through. I don't think Dungey's going to have enough time unless Roczen makes a mistake similar to what Dungey did. Meanwhile, here's James Stewart with about 4 corners to go, looking better and better every week.
Yeah, he's just on cruise control right now, even though Dungey and Roczen actually aren't that far behind him. He knows a couple corners, slow it down a little bit, stop sweating as much, thinking about the second moto. That's a nice thing when you got a lead like this. You can just tone it down to 90%, manage that gap, take your win, and be thinking, now I've got to repeat this and get an overall. I got to end up with more points today. But here he comes.
James Stewart wins the first moto here at High Point. Had a 12-second lead at one point. It's been whittled down to about 5 at the finish because Roczen and Dungey were really pushing right to the line. Roczen does hold off his teammate, and you can see the body language. Dungey, one critical mistake, opened the door for his teammate. We'll talk to James Stewart when we return.
Get ready for Motos 2. All right, well, thanks for taking the time to talk to
Back here, Lucas Oil Pro Motocross, checking out the Kawasaki Terex. That is the official side-by-side vehicle of this series. We use it to patrol the racetracks all weekend long, every weekend throughout the summer. James Stewart has taken the victory here at High Point. A strong performance by the number 7. We'll send it down to Georgia Lindsay.
James Stewart winning that first moto race here at High Point. Now, suspension was key at a rough track like this. It seems that you have dialed that in.
Yeah, the guys have been working really hard with me, and it definitely helps to get a good start. I kind of rode a little tight out there, but the boys, they're working, and we're trying to get to it. It's nice to be able to get another moto win, go back, make a couple little changes. Track was difficult. There was a lot of ruts out there, but I got to give it up to Yoshimura Suzuki. I know I've been not complaining about the bike, but talking about it a lot. And at this level, it's you got to have it good. So I got to give it up to my whole crew, Mike, everybody. It's thank you guys, thank you.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, James Stewart there with the first moto win here at High Point. And now, guys, we're going to take a break.
The Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship is brought to you by Kawasaki, the bike that builds champions. By Fram, oil change done right. And by Lucas Oil, the world leader of high-performance lubricants and problem-solving additives.
We're back at High Point Raceway. Let's send it back to the podium with Georgia Lindsay.
The 94 of the Red Bull KTM rider, Ken Roczen, second place in that moto. You had an insane moto. You were up, down, you were back, forth. Are you tired from that?
No, I'm not tired. Just kind of mad at myself because I made some mistakes. I don't know what I did on the start, but it was really far back. And then put on a charge, went pretty good, and went down in that right-hander where Trey went down, and just had to regroup and go for it. You know, I'm kind of bummed. Got to work on my focus now, regroup, and then go for it in the second moto.
Well, congratulations, second place. You really pushed for that one. Well done, Ken.
And we'll see Ken Roczen a little bit later today. We'll have second moto coverage, of course, on NBCSN Live. That starts at 2 p.m. So we'll have 1 more hour of racing with the 250 class on MAV TV. Then we'll switch over to NBCSN, and we'll send it back to the podium now with Georgia.
Yes, the number 5 of Ryan Dungey, the teammate of Ken Roczen. Congratulations, third place in that race. That was a tough race for you too. It was kind of all over the place. But how are you feeling going into the second moto?
I feel good. You know, that first one, we just didn't get a great start, but it was hard to make a pass. You know, I was really trying to make. I knew Ken was right behind me somewhere, so I knew if I wasn't getting around him, I was going to get held up. But ended up making a mistake over there, got by. But third place. We'll get ready for the second one and try to bring it.
Congratulations, Ryan. Well done.
Well, as Georgia alluded to, there was a pretty crazy race. We'll show you here the Lucas Oil race recap. Chad Reed up front early. James Stewart able to square up his old rival and make the pass.
Yeah, this is old school racing with these guys again. James squares it up, and then talking about James, his little brother Malcolm, he went down, and we're not sure, but I think he went down with Jake Weimer. Jake Weimer looked really kind of beaten there, but good to see him standing up. Ivan, you can tell by the mud, he took a good one. And we see him end up retiring from this race.
Then Ken Roczen trying to challenge his teammate Dungey as they're coming through traffic, and Roczen goes down. That gave Dungey a little bit of an opening. Roczen had to go back to work on Andrew Short.
But that's where he was strong, tripping there. You see Dungey stealing the line away from Roczen, keeping him behind him, doing everything he had to do. But then Dungey makes this mistake, which could have been a lot worse. Lucky that was soft mud off the track. Rejoins at the nearest safest place without gaining advantage.
Trey Kennard, who you saw there in second, then he would fall. That would put Roczen and Dungey up to second and third. But once James Stewart had made that pass on Chad Reed, no one was able to challenge him 2 weeks in a row. He has won the first moto, so it's a totally different James Stewart than what we saw at the first 2 rounds of this championship. Do not count him out as this season moves forward. It's very early. Keep knocking off moto wins like this, he could be back in title contention. There are your results. Kennard picks himself up a 4th. Season best fit for Chad Reed. And how about Josh Grant?
Yeah, I was saying he came from well outside the top 10. He's the unsung hero of that first moto.
And Ryan Sipes, welcome back to Motocross. He now races the Grand National Cross Country Series. First motocross race for him in nearly a year's time. 11th place.
Nice.
Nicely done.
After 3 rounds and 6 motos, we've seen 4 different men claim victory. Yamaha's Josh Grant.
Roczen's going to try the outside. Little mistake for Grant. Roczen to the inside. Side by side. Josh Grant wins the opening moto.
Suzuki's James Stewart.
How about this? We are looking at the 4th different moto winner this year in 5 motos. James Stewart takes it here at Thunder Valley.
And the KTM duo of Ryan Dungey and points leader Ken Roczen.
Side by side contact is going to steal the moto win and the overall at Glen Helen. Ken Roczen wins round 2 at Hangtown, and Ken Roczen wins round 3 here at Thunder Valley.
The series heads into round 4 with the momentum in the championship up for grabs. 450 Moto 2 from High Point is about to get underway live on NBCSN.
The rolling hills of southwestern Pennsylvania have been welcoming motocross fans for nearly 40 years, and they're back again for this, the UPMC Sports Medicine High Point National. Round 4 of the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship, sanctioned by AMA Pro Racing. Welcome to High Point Raceway for motocross coverage here on NBCSN. Jason Wygant and former 250 and 450 national motocross champ Grant Langston. Well, it's been an exciting series so far, but the real key was the domination of teammates early in the season. Jeremy Martin and Cooper Webb, Yamaha riders on 250s, Ken Roczen and Ryan Dungey, KTM riders on 450s. Last week, we finally saw some other riders break through, Can they keep that up today?
I do believe so. I think what happened was Yamaha and KTM in the two different divisions got a good jump start. These guys were dialed in coming into the series. Now we're round 4. Other teams have had to play catch up. Other riders are digging deep. They're frustrated about being beaten. We saw Blake Baggett come through last week, and I kind of expected that. And we've seen other riders right up there getting really, really close. James Stewart getting a win. So I expect to see more winners. And with this track and being a little bit muddy and different today, I think we could see potentially another new winner.
Now, we've already had a moto completed today. We'll show you why. We'll give you the 411. These are the rules of the Motocross Road. Each class runs 2 races. The classes are divided by engine size, and then we'll combine the scores of the 2 motos in each class to determine overall winners in each division when the weekend is over. And we've actually already finished the first set of motos today. Let's show you the highlights. Oh, this is fun to see. The veteran Chad Reed out of Australia grabbing your motorsport.com hole shot, and the fans at High Point were pumped because his whole rival James Stewart was right behind him. When these two hook up, it's always fun to watch.
This is like 12 years in the making, these two, but Chad Reed did exactly what he needed. Get out front, but then he had a battle for the lead. Watch James Stewart here. He squares his turn up hard on the throttle with a better line and makes it look relatively easy, but James Stewart was on rails. And talking about Stewart, his younger brother Malcolm goes down, we believe, with Jake Weimer. Jake Weimer having some assistance off the track, and then Tedesco, another victim of this technical rutted track.
Yeah, those 3 riders would not finish the race. Here's Ken Roczen, series points leader, goes down while chasing Ryan Dungey, the rider he's battling for the points lead with. Almost tangles up with Andrew Short. Roczen would, though, get back into the fight. It was a 3-rider battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Trey Canard to the 41, Dungey on the 5, holding Roczen at bay.
Yeah, they make a little bit of contact there. Dungey steals a line away. That's what you have to do at this level. But watch, Ryan Dungey gets a little cross-rutted and almost could have had a big one there off the track. Has to go around the banners, and Roczen gets through.
Yeah, and then Trey Canard goes down, so Roczen takes 2nd. But there were no challengers for James Stewart. He won the first moto a week ago at Colorado. He was not able to replicate it at Moto 2, where he finished 3rd. We'll see if he can get 1-1 scores today. Here are your results from this first race. Roczen 2nd, as mentioned. Dungey did get around Canard also for 3rd. And Chad Reed, that's his best performance of the year with a top 5. Let's send it to the 3rd member of the broadcast team, Georgia Lindsay, at the GoPro starting gate.
The number 80 of Frederick Noren. Now, Frederick, you've had an amazing privateer season so far. You got your overall best finish, which was 12th, and you do it with your girlfriend Amy as your mechanic.
Yeah, no, it feels great. The season's going good so far. I've been riding consistent in every moto, so I'm going to try to keep it up that way.
Well, congratulations on your season so far. Well done, Frederick. Look out for the number 80. And on the other side of me, the number 41 of Trey Canard. Trey Canard, that first moto, you were absolutely hauling. Then, unfortunately, you lost the front end in that one corner.
Yeah, I was trying. You know, those guys were coming, and I was doing the best I could. You know, that's all you can do. And I just tumped it, which was a bummer. But, you know, we made some changes, and I feel good about today. And we'll just try to get a good start and have a good race.
You always have a second moto. Well done, Trey.
Stewart and Canard, that's the 2 riders that people were counting on to challenge the KTMs. They've been doing it so far today.
The Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship is brought to you by Kawasaki, the bike that builds champions. By the Air National Guard. By Suzuki, champion approved. And by Lucas Oil, the world leader of high-performance lubricants and problem-solving additives.
Father's Day weekend, great crowd here in Pennsylvania for Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. Now, normally the father situation in this sport is the father providing for the rider. But in this case, when you're racing at this level, there are a few riders who have actually flipped it. We have some riders who are dads themselves, and they are also expected to have more children on the way. All along, they are following this pro circuit.
Who inspires Josh Grant is my son Wyatt and my wife Ashley. You know, they're the ones that have really kept me on my toes and, you know, keep me up every day. And, just the pure fact that I look at him every day and he looks up to me, it's just a good feeling. So for me, I just want to be that mentor and that idol to my son, so that way it feels good for everybody.
Being a father has changed me in more ways than not. I look at riders, past and present, and one individual that I look at a lot is our current, champ. And he's 25 years old, and he looks like life is hell. I remember being that guy, being in that position, earning those millions, and life sucked. It just really did. I think that kids bring perspective to your life, allow you to appreciate what life is really about.
Being a father has changed me in, so many different ways, not even just racing, but in racing, it gives me more of a fire, a drive, to want to go out and be better than I was before. And just one of those things that I've kind of just sunk in and got to experience on my own, that just a great feeling.
Lessons from father to son have been passed down through the generations.
He did everything for me. So, for us to go on the weekends, it was more of a family deal. We got to hang out and bond and have fun at the same time, and be competitive. And, I think there's a lot of the guys in the sport that, that's what they are. They're just competitive people, and it's just cool to have my dad around, and I want to do the same for Wyatt.
My dad always taught me a lot of those things mean very little in life, but it's about just the hard work, and if you work hard, good things come. And I just try to pass that on to my kids. I can honestly tell you that because of my kids and my wife and my family life, racing and the passion is stronger than ever.
Only about a month or so away, and we'll have more additions to both the Reed and Grant families. So certainly a great celebration for Father's Day weekend. Let's give you the Kawasaki track map of High Point.
Well, the start is a lot steeper uphill than you expect from this view, but you come up, make that long sweeping left, you come downhill here, hardest braking point on the track. Find a rut, make it happen, turn right, scrub this tunnel jump, and then key is carry your momentum through this section, because you need a double at least through there. Another off camber right here. We saw Roxon go down earlier. Try and triple up onto that, because we've seen that's where you can pass. This double, no one able to do it at the moment because of the ruts and the weather we've had from yesterday. Make that left. This drops down to probably the lowest point of the track. A couple more jumps through here that get more technical as the ruts get deeper throughout the day. Make this left, and now a higher speed section. Grab a handful, make this little right hip jump, step it up into the turn, hard on the brakes again, get in the deep rut, down the hill again. This section here, really off camber, can't quite see it from that. Make a right up here, drop down. This is where we saw the ruts getting deep. We saw Dungey jump off the track, make a left, drop down one more time. A lot of elevation, a lot of off cambers. Now this section here, coming back up the hill, the rollers are a little bit different, more through the corner. Pick a line, get on the gas hard, and then go over the finish line. Whip it if you win it. Past the Fran Mechanics area and Bradshaw Boulevard, and that's a lap.
There was also a lap in qualifying that was darn fast. It was turned by Ken Roxon. He gets the Oakley Bomb Award as your fastest qualifier today with a 2:10. But every time these riders have hit the track, they've gone faster. They were in the 2:20s in the first practice. You saw Rox with the 2:10 in the second practice. They were hovering around the low 2s in the first moto when James Stewart won that one. This is critical. KTM keys to the moto. Give us the keys here to making success at High Point.
These are my top three. Changing track conditions. In other words, you need to adjust your lines during the race. The ruts, the main line in the beginning may not be the same way at the end because the ruts will get deeper. The key is, the start is very key because of the fact that with this, you heard Cooper Webb, some of the other guys saying you get single filed out. So you've got to basically get out front because the lap times here are very similar and guys are finding it hard to pass. And of course, you got to be strong for 30 plus too.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
And consistent.
Right.
Cut out the mistakes. I mean, we saw top riders making big mistakes in that first moto.
And you kept hitting on it from how muddy the track was in practice. Now we have perfect conditions here. The track just keeps changing. That's adapting to conditions. Let's see what happens. Moto 2 on the 450s. Stewart read the keys because he's got a great start. He's got Canard right next to him. Is Chad Reed going to steal it from everybody? Yes! 2 motosport.com hole shots today for Reed. I didn't even see him near the front entering turn 1 on the exit. He gets to lead again. So we have a carbon copy of our first race of the day. Reed and Stewart going to do some battling.
Well, Chad Reed got that hole shot with that extra cash. He's going to be remodeling the baby room now.
All right.
And James Stewart going, wow! That was a burst of speed right there out of nowhere. And James Stewart coming through. Wow, that was a pass of note right there by James Stewart. And look at Trey Canard. He's going, I want to be part of this party as well. I'm coming through. Let's do this.
And once again, only subpar starts for the KTM riders, Dungey and Roxon, who are leading this championship. Dungey now up to 4th behind Reed. So it's James Stewart in the yellow number 7 in the lead, the 41 of Trey Canard here. That's the red Honda Muscle Milk Machine 2nd. And Canard going to try to hang with Stewart.
He has to. And James Stewart getting that lead quickly, getting around Chad Reed as well as Canard. And we have to ask, where are the KTM double-headed monster? And there's one of them, Ryan Dungey, and he makes it by. So Chad Reed, maybe a little cautious on this opening lap, but Chaddy Daddy, you got to let it hang out right now because that's what these guys are doing.
Canard on the inside of Stewart, still showing him some wheels, putting the heat on the number 7.
I can't believe we're seeing dust.
Yeah.
I couldn't walk around the track this morning.
Yeah. Huge rain all week. And also again last night. And now we've got a dry racetrack, and we have Trey Canard. I think at this point he's practically getting held up by Stewart. He wants the number 1 spot.
Inside, will he run it in deep? Stewart with a better line, chops him off, keeps that lead. But Trey Canard has come out racing in the second moto.
Yeah, he almost ran into the back of Stewart 2 or 3 times in that first lap. Running the wide line in both of these corners.
Staying out of the main line. And it's also, we talk about chess match or whatever, but when he gets out of the line, if he loses ground, he goes, okay, I might just need to follow. Like this turn here, they braided it because it's right off the start. So sometimes you do have to follow guys, but they're trying to avoid staying in the roost in the rut. But sometimes it's tough because the guy in front usually is going to take the fast line, and if there's a discrepancy between inside or outside, he will run the inside to protect the inside line.
So Canard leaning on Stewart. Oh, and they both decide to bust out the hip jump.
Listen to the crowd.
Yeah.
The crowd's like, we've been waiting all day for that.
First time all weekend anyone has jumped it, and they all do it together. By the way, Ken Roxon's up to 4th and all over Dungey.
I love the fact that Trey saw James grab a handful, and he just pretty much did, I think, what I would have done. Go, well, if he's going for it, I'm going for it. And that was beautiful just to see. And then behind them, I do believe Dungey and Roxon hucked it as well. So these guys now know what to do. You triple up, you go into that depth, and then you grab another handful and jump that double, because it is worth a ton of time.
I think they were watching some video of the trucks between races to figure out what to do.
I'm pretty sure they were.
So Canard continuing to hammer on Stewart.
This is impressive by Trey. I don't know if I've seen Trey been this racy in a very long time, but he looks great. And Stewart's running a great pace. Look at these guys switching up the lines.
Well, I got to give credit to Stewart. Remember our first moto a week ago in Colorado, he had riders like this all over him the entire way, and it never rattled him. He said after the race, he told me he actually prefers to ride with pressure like this when you're all alone out front. Keeps the focus. Total concentration when you got guys leaning on you like this.
Which is pretty unique, because I'm not going to lie, I hated guys breathing down my neck. I almost would rather they pass me, because then I felt there were times I could follow their lines and then make a repass at the end of the race. But James Stewart, very strong, very confident in himself, doesn't let people fluster him. And I think that comes from a deep inner confidence as well.
Yeah, we go back to 2012. He had Ryan Dungey draped all over in a bunch of these races. It never rattled him. So Stewart has got a lot of experience winning these things. He's putting that to work. Canard's still behind him. And, of course, the battling KTM duo. Ken Roxon, 4th, Ryan Dungey 3rd. That was our story at the top of the show. Could someone break through? These KTM riders own the series through the first couple of motos. Canard and Stewart were the most likely candidates to do it so far. That's exactly what they're doing. They're keeping the KTMs behind them. Of course, it starts with a good start in the motorsport.com hole shot.
Well, at this point, I thought Stewart had the deal sealed, and then Chad with a pedal out the inside. Watch it, he pivots right there, and now hard on the throttle. You see Stewart drifting wide, and Chad, look at that rear fender compressed. That means he was wide open and just sneaks by.
That's close.
Baby's getting new shoes.
Yeah, $1,000 a whole shot awards today for Reed. That's chump change for him. Canardi's second, and it looks like Stewart now starting to get the drop on everyone. That was a furious first 2 or 3 laps, but now Stewart's settling in, extended the lead to about 2 seconds. Dungey is third, Roczen is fourth. There's practically one thing I can guarantee out of this. It's not going to stay like this all race long. We're going to have some action up front with these 4. It's a real head game. Round 4 of this series, momentum, confidence, points all on the line. Meanwhile, we're going to show you what it's like on board for their GoPro Hero 3 Plus course preview. This is James Stewart from Moto 1.
Look at that. This is what it looks like. A little wheelie there. Look at these guys rubbing shoulders. Finds that gap. Chad with the whole shot. Stewie cuts it up the inside. Able to come out in second. Hard on the brakes here. Look how close these guys are. I just love this shot. Weimer there, unfortunately, unable to stay there. He ended up getting carted off the track. Through the eyes of the racer. This brings back some incredible memories.
And here's that section. They're now jumping onto that. And you'll see this hip jump here that they couldn't do earlier in the day. They're going all the way over it now. They're pushing the pace here in Moto 2. Sunday, June 22nd, after an 11-year absence, the Symphony of Speed returns. Formula One racing heads to Austria for 71 laps. Beneath the Alps, the Formula One Austrian Grand Prix, Sunday, June 22nd on NBCSN.
I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, except
going back to Austria. That's awesome.
Folks in Austria are probably a little bummed right now, though, because they got the Red Bull KTMs dominating this series so far, but there's now a challenge from James Stewart and Trey Canard. So the Austria mark here in Motocross got some work to do. They want to get up front. See Dungey on the orange number 5, Roczen on the orange 94. So far, they've gotten this close, but they haven't really been able to stick a wheel in here on Canard.
Well, that's sort of what we were talking about a little bit earlier. And Cooper Webb kind of nailed it on the head when he said there are a lot of lines, but they funnel back into each other. Or if the guy in front of you is taking the prime line and you try and step out of it, you know, you might be close, but it funnels back together. So with these guys so close speed-wise, it is difficult to pass. You got to wait for a mistake, or truthfully, you can always pass by forcing the issue. What I mean by that is you got to basically put your big boy pants on and accelerate really hard down a hill where you're actually scared. But that's what it takes sometimes to pass the best of the best.
Well, earlier today we had motos in the 250 class, and we saw most of the passing did come that way. Guys just jumping bigger jumps, hitting the ruts harder. Wasn't necessarily anything pretty about it. We'll see if Dungey or Roczen have something up their sleeve, but Canard, he's shrugging this off right now. And let's send to George Lenz. We had a crash. We mentioned in the first moto we showed the highlights side that Tedesco was down. Let's get an update with Georgia on that team.
Yep, Fran Mechanics area is where all the action seems to happen, but I got Kenny Watson here. Now with the RCH Soaring Eagle Suzuki team, Tedesco had that crash in the first moto. How's he doing now? And also give us an update on your team.
Yeah, Ivan's all right. He hit his head a little bit during the week and had a little ding there, so we thought it would be best to sit out. And, you know, the future, we're just building and hoping to get one of the top guys on our team for next year, and it's all a building process. So we're just out here. Weston's running 7th right now. We're trying to get him towards the front, so it's baby steps. We're doing our best to get there.
Thanks, Kenny.
He's hoping to get a top rider on his team.
I wonder who that would be.
That's code word for we have a top rider coming to our team.
We're not going to say anything. You guys got to have to read between the lines to figure that out. Here is a battle. Ryan Dungey all over Trey Canard. Ken Roczen right behind them. 3-rider duel for second.
Oh, watch this. Better drive. Squares it up. Dungey a little hesitant there after his first moto, unable to get it done, but now he goes to the outside. Let's see how this works out. Trey to the inside. The 2 KTMs around the outside. The lines start coming back together, but Trey Canard does enough to hold on to that second position.
You mentioned at the jump where Dungey was trying to make the pass. Yeah, that's where he went off the track in Moto 1.
He seemed like he hesitated just briefly, just enough that I felt like if he held on to it, he would have had it. But Ryan Dungey is a very methodical rider, and he tries not to step out of his comfort zone. That's why he is Mr. Consistent, because he doesn't take risks. for me, I felt like it was either win or crash kind of thing, but that's the difference in personalities. And Ryan Dungey may not be the most aggressive or the most flamboyant or exciting, but he's one of those guys, as we say in America, get her done. And he's usually able to get her done.
Yeah, but here's what's impressive about Dungey due to that consistency. We were running the stats earlier. 73 straight starts in the Nationals. He hasn't missed a race since the end of the 2007 season.
Incredible. I mean, I remember when Chad Reed had 100-something straight starts in Supercross, and it was like, wow.
Yep.
Most guys have never even qualified 100 races.
Yeah, and that's 24 motos, 2 motos really in each of those. So you're really looking at 140-some straight gate drops for Dungey. He hasn't missed a moto. Wow. He's so darn strong and consistent, but right now, he just got to get aggressive because Kennard is not making it easy. Wait, we got a yellow flag
and that looks
situation.
Pretty serious, as in they're pushing those guys wide. It was a green bike.
Yeah. Sure who that was.
Yeah. Hopefully he's all right.
Stewart has cleared that section. You see him just going on to the downhill. Whoa. Kennard almost stuffed the front end there.
Yeah, he got on the binders. His front wheel almost climbed out of that rut, but Dungey's starting to look impatient. He draws alongside. He's going to do the same thing. Go to the outside. Last time, he squares it up. He learned from last time. But unfortunately, he slowed down a little bit, waiting to see what Kennard was going to do. But Dungey's sussing it up. You know, he's figuring it out right now. He's not following. Oh, mistake there. So now he loses a bit of ground to Trey, and he's got to go and make it up, because I think where he was going to that outside where I talked about, I think that's probably his best option right now.
Might be time to start talking about the 94 of Roczen here. He's just been sitting back here watching, but you see him throwing that bike sideways. He saw the mistake from his teammate. It looks like Kenny wants to go now.
Well, that was a, as we say, turn down for what? To stay low over the jumps. He scrubs the jumps. Probably him and James Stewart arguably the best two at that on the track right now, but Kenny able to keep that bike low and just soak it up over these jumps. And that's what you need. Because the thing is, in motocross, people think, oh, airtime is awesome and that's amazing. How high do you go? No, dude, you don't want to go high. You want to go forward. So when you scrub it, you basically allow the suspension to rebound almost outwards rather than going forwards. But with that said, we're halfway through this race, Jason. What does that mean?
That means 15 minutes before the 2 laps to go sign comes out. And also in 15 minutes, you can call Geico and save 15% or more on your insurance. You might want to keep us tuned in here, though, because we have a battle. It's beginning to tighten. You can see Stewart in the picture still. Kennard's not out of it in the race for the lead. And certainly the 2 KTM riders, the 5 and the 94, Dungey and Roczen, they're right there as well.
Well, we saw Dungey take a different line, made a mistake, lost, you know, what is it, maybe 10 bike lengths at most. Now he's right back there. So we know he's got a little more pace, but Trey is riding great, and passing right now is tough. And we see James Stewart, he's just ahead of these guys. So the top 4, the top 4 fastest guys in this class are running 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in no specific order of speed, but we're halfway through this race, because when they cross the finish line, they're going to have basically the other half of the race to go. So I'm just really curious to see how this, because look, Stewart made a mistake, and now Kennard is right there. So the top 4, you can throw a blanket over these guys.
This might be the best race of the year. It is really shaping up. We're going to call them the fast foursome of Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. They're pushing each other to new limits here at High Point. Who's going to come out on top down the stretch as Kennard challenges Stewart for the lead? Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championships. You're watching live coverage on NBCSN. Trey Kennard, number 41, is 2nd, not too far behind James Stewart, who's leading it. And then not too far behind Kennard in 3rd is Ryan Dungey. And behind Dungey is your series leader, Ken Roczen. And all 4 of these guys have had their strengths and weaknesses at different points in this moto. They've closed up, pulled apart, they've closed back up again.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the last lap time, James Stewart was a 2:03.8. Trey Kennard a 2:06.3. So Trey obviously made a mistake somewhere on the previous lap, which gave James a little bit of breathing room. But right behind James, you got Trey just being haunted right now by Dungey, and I think Roxon made a mistake because he did a 2:08, so he was the slowest out of the top 4, and even slower than some of the guys behind him. So, as we've said, we've got this yo-yo effect, but it's so easy to make mistakes on this track because of the, I mean, you see Trey hit that rut there and you just saw mud flying. That means he's actually altered the way that rut is right now. So the next car that comes along, he hits the mud or misses the mud or goes out of the rut. So very, very, the elements with the weather made this track technical. That's the best way to put it, I think.
Yeah, it's so different from what it was earlier.
We see dust.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I mean, we thought we might have a mud race at one point. This battle for second continues to rage. Dungey pushing Kennard. And as they push each other, they get Stewart back into the picture. Dungey down to the inside. Kennard's been running out wide line on the entrance. It's worked.
Well, the good thing is if you come that turn wide and the guy tries to run it up the inside, you can release the brakes and just make sure you just keep pinching him and take that line away. And it's a lot of strategy. Trey running more of the insides and Ryan running more of the outside. So at some point you got to imagine Ryan's going to crush a corner and Trey's going to not crush it, and Ryan can get by because, like we're saying, similar speed, but I do believe Dungey has a little more pace than Kennard right now. And we said earlier, Ryan rode good in that first moto, had a bobble, allowed Kenny by, but at the end of the day, when he looks at the results, he can say, I rode pretty good, but Kenny was in front of me again. So that's going to be getting under him. And Kenny made a mistake earlier, and he didn't close up like he has in the past.
No, it hasn't quite been the same. I'd say you wouldn't get many arguments over the last 2 rounds if you said that Roxon was the strongest rider, but this second moto so far, he's been in the picture, but he hasn't really put extreme pressure on the 3 riders in front of him. But Dungey needs this opportunity to get some points back on Roxon. He's 12 points behind coming into today, lost 2 more in the first moto, so he's 14 points in back. That's about half of a moto. You get 25 points for a moto win, so Dungey needs to get some points back.
So Kennard now still getting stalked by Ryan Dungey, and Ryan Dungey at this point has to make it happen if he wants to get by, because what will help him, if he can get by Kennard and Kennard can hold up Roxon, that will really make an effect to this overall and the points, because we keep talking about points. These guys are close. You mentioned it. 14 points, truthfully, is nothing. But unless a guy has mechanical or a major crash, it's hard to chip away at 14 points, because you might get 2 here, 3 there, and then all of a sudden he beats you and it goes back, you know, and it's frustrating. So Ryan Dungey has to start getting forceful with Trey, but Trey riding a phenomenal race. Well, first of all, Ryan's going to get back to that rear wheel, but Trey not even losing any time to James Stewart.
No, absolutely. These guys have been even up. Stewart not quite pulling Kennard. Kennard not quite pulling Dungey. Dungey not pulling Roxon. Check out the Kawasaki Terex. That's the official side-by-side vehicle of Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. A battle within the battle here. Lucas Oil Pro Motocross on NBCSN. Ken Roxon of the 94. You see the yellow numbers in the back of the jersey. Just made a pass on his Red Bull KTM teammate Ryan Dungey, who's riding the number 5. They were headed down Bradshaw Boulevard, they call it. And after David Bradshaw, rider won a lot of races here in the past. That's near the finish line jump. Roxon was able to get around Dungey. That puts him into 3rd place. Trey Kennard is 2nd. James Stewart is leading. If you're Dungey, you cannot let this happen.
No.
You can't let Roxon get away from you again.
You have to make the pals happen, because that will help so much, points-wise, mentally-wise, because right now, I think Ken Roxon is winning the mental battle. Look at that! How low did he stay through that? But now, Kennard doesn't give up. He's on the inside, the shoulder way around the corner, and he makes it happen. Trey Kennard did not let that pass happen. He gave it everything he had. So did Ken Roxon. But Kennard had the favorable inside, and if you rail that thing really good on the inside, you can hold it on. Oh, Kennard now going, okay, I know Kenny's going to scrub this jumps and stay low, so I got to do the same thing. Roxon swings out wide, changing up the line.
Can you see in the body language here, Roxon, it looks like he's really starting to push now?
Well, he has to. He's slowly just seeing James Stewart just slowly disappear, you know, out in the sunset. So he's going, oh, time's running out. Stewie on fire today. I don't believe these guys will catch them, but
amazing.
If you're Kennard, Roczen, and Dungey, you want to be the best of the rest right now, and especially for Ryan Dungey, because Kenny just seems to find a way to be in front of him, and I know how frustrating that it can be.
Absolutely. Every moto, it seems like, as of late, Dungey's had his shot at finishing in front of Roczen, and Roczen figures out a way to make it happen. So now Dungey's got to try to get him back, while they're also battling with Kennard.
And you know Kennard, he's not a teammate at all, so he's going to ride these guys as hard as he can. He doesn't have to go back to the truck and explain why he made contact with his teammate. So, Trey Kennard has been riding really well this year, and he's been getting a little bit stronger each and every weekend. And right now, this is a great ride from Trey. Under pressure, with your points leader, you got a world champion, national champion, supercross champ. I mean, that's a pretty heavy artillery. You can't think that as a racer, but Trey has been pretty flawless as far as riding this race under pressure.
And he's carrying the flag for Honda right now. His teammate Justin Barsha is now out for the season with an ankle injury. Look at Roczen. This is where he tried to make the move a lap ago. Did he get stuck in one of those ruts?
I think that's what happened the last lap when Roczen stayed lower than Kennard. I think on that, what would it be, the left-hand side, sorry, as a rider, I think the main line there, the ruts have gotten so deep, I think the suspension's bottoming out at the bottom, dragging pegs and then rebounding, shooting up to the moon. So these guys, if you're coming up that section now, start moving to the right. It stays lower. The ruts are not as deep.
Like the limbo there is how low can you go on the takeoff of that jump for Roczen.
Get low.
Yeah.
Get low.
It was good the last time around. This time, it was darn near dangerous. And look at Kennard also splitting the lap traffic while dealing with the riders who are first and second in points. What a ride for Kennard in second. And just one notch better is James Stewart, who's extended it to 3.9 seconds out front.
James Stewart's been sort of maintaining that the last couple laps. Been hovering around, right around 4 seconds. So, not saying he's not pushing, because he is, but sometimes when you're the leader and no one's breathing down your neck.
Dungey is in front of Roczen.
Yeah, he is.
So that's how close it has been between the teammates. Just one mistake here or there makes all the difference. So this time, Dungey has been able to pass Roczen back.
Well, we were saying how critical it is for Ryan Dungey to make a statement right now. Not only to stop the bleeding as far as the points gap stretching as we see the yellow flag out. Assuming we've got a lapper down. Oh, I think this is still that same. Oh, no, it isn't. Another rider down. I told you that section is not the most technical section in the world, except when it gets so rutted, you're trying to jump while dealing with bumps, ruts, holes, kickers. All of a sudden, that little simple section becomes very technical.
Wow, we saw Roczen go by. He lost a bunch of ground. This has been a rough lap for him. Not sure if he's having a problem or what. But not only has Dungey passed him, but you don't see Roczen on his rear fender any longer.
If I'm just taking just throwing one in the dog.
All right.
This track with the ruts and everything, you bury those foot pegs. You can get a foot peg stuck up because the mud packs in. You can get mud between your shifter. You can get mud so you can't push your rear brake pedal all the way down. So just speculating, but that could be something because it doesn't look that mechanical, but sometimes these guys will go in the air and literally, we've seen Ryan Dungey do it indoor at Supercross, suicide shift as we call it, grab it.
With a hand, yeah.
But sometimes these guys will go over in mid-end, actually look down and kick the mud out, and whether it's the foot peg, the shifter, whatever, you start realizing there's a problem. But yeah, Kenny definitely looked like he lost a little bit there for some reason. So that's why I just speculated maybe a shifter or a rear brake pedal not able to.
Dungey goes down and hands third place back to Roczen.
Oh, do you see the shake of the head? He is furious because he probably knows it was a dumb mistake on a simple section, but time is running out. Let's have a look here. See Kennard coming through there, and Ryan gets in here. Oh, you see the front just climbed out of that rut. Those are the things that happen when you're pushing, and he looks over and sees Kenny go by, and then watch the head shake. This is man, what happened?
Yeah, he was going to try to get the 2 points back that he lost to Roczen in Moto 1. Now he might lose 4 points on the day if he loses 2 points in both races, and he's running out of time.
But not just 4 points. If he stayed in front of him, if Dungey was in front of Roczen, he would have walked away if they stayed the way they were, with not losing any points, not gaining any points. But it's a chess match.
Yep.
Weston Pike here Another
run.
one of the RCH Soaring Eagle Suzuki riders. The substitute filling in for the injured Brock Tickle.
Yeah, we mentioned that Ivan Tedesco, his teammate, is out after a crash in the first moto, and the team manager Kenny Watson had said that he had crashed during the week as well. Now we'll find Josh Grant.
Josh had a great first moto. We didn't get to see him that much on the screen, but he came from well outside the top 10 for a 6th. Rode last week with strep throat. This guy riding for his life. He's got a pregnant wife. Probably also trying to figure out where he'll find himself next year as far as the ride goes. Josh, a phenomenal talent, great guy. Unfortunately, just dealt with injuries, and in this sport it sucks. Injuries hold you back. But last lap, white flag. Stewie still holding on to that lead.
Are we going to see the first non-KTM overall victory of the year? I don't think anyone will be shocked if James Stewart is the one to do it, but what a way to do it. Looking to go 1-1 and doing it in complete control on a track that is so difficult. You know, back in the day, Stewart was known as that winner crash guy, but he has been just solid and consistent and smooth today.
Well, they say with age comes maturity, and with maturity you take less risks. So it's a catch-22, but James Stewart, just a phenomenal rider, and we even talked about the KTM keys to the moto. Get the start. He had 2 of those.
Yep.
Then adjust with the track that's changing. Who was the first guy to triple up there? James Stewart. Who was the first guy to jump this? James Stewart. Who's going to be the guy that's going to win today? I think you may know this, Weege.
Well, I don't want to jinx the guy, but it sure looks good for James Stewart right now with a half a lap to go and a 3.5-second lead over Kennard, who continues to hold those KTMs at bay. So our big talking point at the beginning of this show, could someone else outside of those 2 KTM riders mount a challenge and get the win today? Stewart and Kennard have risen to the challenge.
And what was the other stat Georgia brought up at the top of the show? The last 6 years in a row, the rider that won Mount Morris went on to win the title.
That's right.
So, I'm just saying, keep that in mind, so when we get to round 12, we can see if that becomes 7 in a row.
For number 7.
Yeah.
I'm sure Stewart's going to be pumped when they tell him that one.
Lucky number 7.
Yeah, that's the stat coming in. It was 6 straight years that the rider that won this race won the 450 title. So we'll see if Stewart can make that happen. He was 30 points behind coming in, but as you mentioned, you can make that stuff up. He's going to gain about 6 on Roczen at least today. Roczen, well, actually more, because he's got Kennard sandwiched between him. Roczen making a desperate last-second charge at Kennard. He's running out of time. James Stewart wins High Point. He goes 1-1, and look at how close it was. Roczen was trying to get those spots, wanted the points from Kennard. Kennard pushed Stewart all the way to the end.
We were talking about, can these guys close up the gap? Look right there. You don't get much closer than that, so that gap is tight.
And they held off. They pushed the KTMs back to 3rd and 4th. So Stewart and Kennard, it took a couple of weeks, but they're dialed in now.
He's pumped. When you get that aggressive fist pump, that's like, yeah, it's overdue. I own this. I owe this. Rev that bike. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Pure emotion. Love that. That's what makes the sport so phenomenal.
And he has given so much credit to this team for being there on the good days and the bad days. It certainly wasn't great the first couple of weeks of racing, but they stayed the course. They've improved little by little, and here they are.
The bad days make you appreciate these days, these moments right here. That's what you love to see about the sport. The emotion, the highs, the lows.
Let's send it down to Georgia Lindsay with our winner.
Yes, James Stewart, that smile on your face. Overall win here at High Point. You must feel absolutely amazing right now.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to my team. You know, we've been working hard, and you know, I've been almost trying to tell them, like, man, you know, we get it, we'll be all right. And I normally suck at this track, so to be able to come here, the bike was awesome today. So can't give those guys enough credit for that, the hard work. It didn't start off that good, but to come back, win last weekend, and come back and back it up with a 1-1 is phenomenal. So thank you, fans. Get a week off and enjoy it.
Well, it's your first win since Millville last year, so coming back, you've got 2 weeks, like you said. You've got a lot to work on. The bike's dialed. You're going to be happy for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, absolutely. It's a good way to go into the break. Like I said, we've been working hard, so, you know, get it in there. And we still got a ways to go, but, you know, we're starting off the right way. We're getting there, so thank you.
Congratulations, James Stewart, with the overall win here at High Point.
6 years since James Stewart has won at High Point. That was part of his perfect season in 2008. He's had some big crashes at this track as well. So like he said, if he wins here, there are other tracks he's going to go even faster on as this summer unfolds.
The Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship is brought to you by The Red Bulletin, a Beyond the Ordinary magazine. By Kawasaki, the bike that builds champions. By Geico Motorcycle, see how much you could save. And by Lucas Oil, the world leader of high-performance lubricants and problem-solving additives.
We're back. High Point Raceway has just witnessed maybe the best race of the year in the 450 class, which is saying a lot because we've had some great ones so far in 2014. Here's your Lucas Oil race recap. Another hole shot for Chad Reed, but James Stewart did not mess around Grant Langston. He wanted the #1 spot.
Oh, he triples up there, and watch this. Just a huge handful of throttle. Actually uses the face of that double to slow himself down.
Then Trey Kennard all over Stewart. They were battling up front, and they both decide to bust out that hip jump double for the first time.
Crowd went wild.
Yeah. And then Ryan Dungey battling with his teammate Ken Roxon in third behind Kennard. He makes a mistake, coughs the spot up. See the little head shake here. Oh, he knows he gave some valuable championship points away. Look how close it is down to the finish line. That's the lap rider Matt Gerke on the inside. Stewart on the 7 wins. Kennard, Roxon, second and third. About 4 seconds between those top 3 riders, and this is the look of a winner. James Stewart won a moto last week. He was kind of happy. He knew they had some work to do. This time they nailed it. Much happier. As you look at the results of Moto 2, Roxon holds off Dungey. Weston Pike, season's best for him in 5th. Let's send it down to Georgia.
Our second place overall winner of Ken Roxon, the 94. Now, Ken Roxon, that was a tough day for you. You weren't happy with the result. However, you still got second overall points in the championship. You still got the red plate.
Yeah, that's good. It's all about keeping it consistent. And the starts weren't there. I was in the hunt the whole day. And dang, I missed that double a few times because of lappers. And man, just had a few mistakes. But it's all about keeping it consistent and still happy with my result. You know, I gave it 100%. And it's all about keeping it together. You know, go in a weekend of break and regroup.
Congratulations, Ken Roxon, second overall.
Here are the overall results. Josh Grant, great performance, sneaking into the top 5 despite the bad starts, and Weston Pike, solid again for RCH Soaring Eagle Suzuki. But the big difference, you see the total points scored for the day. Roxon 4 more points scored than Dungey.
And that tip over was critical for Ryan Dungey, otherwise it would have been a wash.
And the 8th is the best of the year for Chad Reed. Let's send it back to Georgia.
The number 41 of Trey Kennard. Now, Trey Kennard second in that race, 3rd overall, 2 weeks off. What is your plan?
Yeah, it was a great race, you know, and I always got to give credit to the Lord, but the Muscle Milk Honda team's working really hard, and I was really disappointed that first motor to fall over. Too many people working hard for me, you know, everyone back home, the truck drivers and the Muscle Milk Honda team. It's hard to disappoint those guys, so, you know, we'll just keep plugging away. That was a good step in the right direction, and, you know, got to give a hats off to the Fly Racing crew, DC, Alpine Stars, Liette Brace, Scott Goggles, Yoshimura, everyone, thank you.
Congratulations, Trey Kennard.
Kennard on the overall podium, 3 of the 4 races this year, and don't count him out of the championship either. He was further back than this when he came back in the 250 class to win a couple of years ago. Anything can happen in a long summer. The ever consistent Brett Metcalf, we always say, just pencil that guy, no, ink him into the top 5, and there he is.
Yeah, we said that if you look up top 5 in the dictionary, you'll find a picture of Brett Metcalf right next to him.
And James Stewart 22 points behind. He's now within 1 moto's worth of points. Well, High Point Raceway used to be a Memorial Day tradition. It has now moved to June. It has become a different holiday, a Father's Day tradition, and what a special way to spend Father's Day here at High Point.
Absolutely.